Hello everybody and welcome to the Daily Splat. Back after a bit of the break because obviously it was Christmas and I thought it'd be nice just to take a break. Haven't really been up to much. It's interesting, I suppose. Just had a nice relaxing break in preparation for work starting again after New Year's, which tomorrow is New Year's Eve when I'm recording this. Anyway, last year around this time, I did a couple of reviews of the year, and I figured it'd be nice to do the same thing again. You're just going to get two at the moment I've planned out, because last year I did review of the year in movies, video games, and in general. Now, movies, I don't think I've seen enough this year to really qualify me talking about it, so I'll probably just give that one a miss, but I have played a few video games. So here we go with the Daily Splat 2011 in video games review. Right, okay, so lots of very interesting games came out this year, a lot of sequels. I will be doing a top 5, but first a few honourable mentions. One such honourable mention is NBA Jam and NHL National Hockey League 12. Two sports games that I quite enjoyed. I'm not a fan of either sport, but in terms of actually playing the games, I've played them a few times around at a friend's house. Been pretty good fun. Still not convinced me to buy either game, but NBA Jam is a fun short burst of basketball, and it's just very funny. Obviously the commentary is fantastic, so that gets a recommendation, as does NHL 2012, which was I'm not that big into ice hockey, but the game was fun to play, which is good to know, and of course looked very good as well. A couple of other honourable mentions. One should be thrown out to this game, Dragon Age 2. Not as good as Dragon Age 1, unfortunately, in my opinion, and the opinion of my brothers, who are both played this game, both big fans of it. I haven't quite finished it, which is a little annoying. I'm quite near the end, but can't be bothered finishing at the moment. There's a few other things occupying me, which you'll hear about shortly. But it was still a good, robust, and enjoyable game. It just wasn't quite as good as the first one. Obviously, they changed a few things for Dragon Age 2. They tried out a few different things, some of which were improvements on the original Dragon Age, but obviously some which sort of fell flat. So by all accounts, they probably will be a Dragon Age 3, and hopefully they'll be able to take the lessons that they took with this one, take on board a lot of the criticism that has gone their way, and make a better game. But still a worthy mention for fans of fantasy and things like that. A solid, if unspectacular game. Also worth a mention in this list, Deus Ex Human Revolution. One thing you'll be hearing quite a lot is I haven't finished this game yet, and this is one that I've barely scratched the surface of because I picked it up recently. But it's pretty good fun. Really enjoying it so far. Doesn't get into the top 5 just by virtue of me not having played enough of it, unfortunately, but certainly a very, very strong game. And I remember playing the original Deus Ex when it came out, all those years ago, and it was like, obviously you look at it now and it doesn't look that good, but back then it was, wow, so many options, and they keep the options alive with Deus Ex Human Revolution. Is it? Yeah, Human Revolution. So, yeah, a good game. I would strongly recommend it, particularly if you're a fan of the older ones. Right. Before any of you comment, I should, because I'm going to do my top 5, there are certain games that I haven't played in the top 5. Call of Duty and the other one, Battlefield. Not a first-person shooter fan myself, although have seen, I think it was Modern Warfare 3, I forget what the name of it is. I have seen that, and that did look quite visually stunning. That one did look quite good, but I'm not a fan of them, so they're not going to get a mention in here. Similarly, not a big fan of the driving games and haven't played too many of them. This is just my own personal top 5. I'm not fully qualified to comment. Now, one other game which is going to be overlooked is this one, Portal 2. Reason being, I haven't started playing it yet. I picked up a whole bunch just before Christmas when TV games over here were doing a big sale. You know, you could buy 3 for the price of 1 or something like that. Obviously you paid for the most expensive one, or it's something like that. Portal was one of the ones that I picked up in that package. Haven't started playing it yet because I'm trying to finish other things before I start new ones, but I couldn't resist it at such a low price. Obviously I've heard lots of people going bananas about it. Can't comment because I haven't played it yet. We'll get back to you on that, and there might be an amendment to this video suddenly going, oh, this was the best one. So there you go. Number 5, I don't have the box with me because I've lent it to somebody. At number 5 is LA Noire. LA Noire was a beautifully put together game. It just looks lovely. Actually, it's got the best looking faces in a video game I have seen in terms of it matching up to, you know, the audio of the actual voice actors who are actually, you know, you're pretty much looking at the voice actors because they were all motion captured. The way their faces move, it was brilliant. Obviously, quite a good story once it got going in LA Noire, you know, and it really did open up that world of what it was like in America just after the Second World War in the 40s. You know, they really delved in quite well and found lots of really interesting things in there. I really enjoyed it. A couple of minor criticisms, I suppose. The ending of the story was a bit. I'm obviously trying not to spoil it. I thought it was the right ending, but even so, I was still a bit annoyed with it. So there you go. But very few complaints. Brilliant game, well worth picking up, and well done Rockstar, and well done Team Bondi. Sadly, of course, Team Bondi no longer operating. They did a magnificent job with that, though. Okay, number 4, with their seasonal or annual yearly release, FIFA 12. See what I said about FIFA 11, but just add 12 in there. No, not really. FIFA 12 took a very brave decision in changing how you tackle in this video game. Winning the ball is now something you have to seriously think about, as opposed to just sending in players like homing missiles to try and win the ball. Obviously, the way the passing works and shooting has stayed much the same, but the way you pass the ball off in terms of having the right player with the right vision to play the ambitious passes is a new thing that's very good. And of course, the career mode was significantly improved. So FIFA 12, you know, obviously I know not everyone's a sports game fan, and I, as you might have picked up, I'm a particularly massive football fan, so of course it's going to feature quite prominently. But FIFA 12, really, really good quality game, and I was playing it even today. You know, it's still a cracking game, and I imagine I'll be playing it for some time to come. Okay, at number 3, it's a 3 game. It's Uncharted 3. Now, a lot of people have put this down as their game of the year. A friend of mine, Ryan, has put this down as his game of the year. And I think, with good reason, it's been given game of the year in a lot of places. I loved it. Just because it's at number 3 doesn't mean, oh, I didn't like it. All 5 of these games, which I'm showing you now, are games that I think have been absolutely amazing. And I think Uncharted 3, the main thing about it is just absolutely loads of fun. You know, it's got balls to the wall action, it's got, you know, reasonable gunfights. The shooting mechanics aren't the best that you've ever seen in a video game, but the way they incorporate that okay shooting mechanic with an excellent hand-to-hand combat mechanic, along with, you know, trying to avoid things falling on you and climbing over things and environments being flipped around and puzzle solving and stuff, it was really exciting, and I actually had to try pace it out so I didn't finish it too quickly. Wonderful game. And you know, the previous 2, Uncharted and Uncharted 2, both very good games that have improved on the predecessor, except for Uncharted, obviously, which had no predecessor, but they were both very, you know, good, solid games. This one is really, really good, and you know, if they do choose to make another Uncharted game, I'd be very welcoming to it, and I'd very much like to see what they do with it. Obviously, there's the movie coming out soon, which I can't say I'm that looking forward to, just because, you know, it's a video game adaptation of a movie. They're not normally that good, but still, Uncharted, cracking game. At number 2, it's Mass Effect 2, coming out back in March earlier this year. This game is brilliant. Now, I'm a big fan of Mass Effect, the first one, which was only on the Xbox. I played that about a year after it came out. It was brilliant. couldn't wait for the second one. Well, I had to though. When it came out, got it, played it, and it was just wonderful. When I first got it, and then someone was asking me, what is Mass Effect? I did sort of describe it as you're a kind of space detective, which is wrong, really, you know, but there is that detective element in it that we've seen in things like, like L.A. Noire, which you mentioned earlier. You know, you've got the questioning of people and the conversation trees, which is very good in here. Obviously, quite good shooting mechanics, third-person shooting mechanics, I should add, done very well. Obviously, you know, have the various teammates that you can collect to go on the missions with you as well. Their characters are well written. The way they work within the gameplay has been put together extremely well, and the story is really, really good. And obviously, can't wait for number 3, which comes out next year. And the ending, the final sort of hour of the game where everything bleeds up to it. Of course, what you have done leading up to it can drastically impact who makes it. Semi-spoiler alert, I only lost 1. I was quite pleased with that, so there we go. Right, so Mass Effect 2, really, really well put together game. Really, really lovely. Can't wait for the next one. And would have been my first choice for Game of the Year, but for one game, which I just can't look past because of what they've attempted to do and what they have achieved in the attempting. Skyrim. I know a lot of you will be going, yes, I agree, and some of you will be going, no, it's elves and bollocks. But it is a truly tremendous game. It is quite an achievement to make such a big world and just fill it with things that are continually interesting. It's a sensational game. I'm loving playing it. I played it for a little bit before. Yes, it does have issues with being slightly buggy in some respects, but when you consider how much stuff they've got packed into the game to try and get, you know, a PlayStation or an Xbox to try and churn this through, you know, it's amazing what they have been able to do. I do think this game would be better served on a top-of-the-line PC as it currently stands, but it's still wonderfully good to play on a console. The story is surprisingly a bit more well thought out than I thought, because I was not a fan of Oblivion when that came out. It felt too, not wrapped up in itself, but just too distant. It didn't feel as welcoming to the new player, as opposed to my brother, who started playing it, got into that world, and then he just continued playing it for about 3 or 4 years until old Skyrim came out. This one comes out, I start playing it, it just instantly made me feel, well, not instantly, you know, I put it in, wow, I feel welcomed. No, it just made me feel more welcome. As I got into it, obviously some cool things happening. I think the idea of not having classes and just, you almost become the classes just from what you do is a really good system. And it's just a brilliant world, very well put together. Obviously all the various things that you fight, really good fun. I'm loving it. I know I'm not even halfway through it, and I've put in about 60 hours since I've got it. You know, that's over 2 months. That's spaced out. That's what, an hour a day, I suppose. And anyway, but you know, I've heard of people who, after 2 weeks, have played 93 hours of it, and obviously now a load of people have gotten it for Christmas, and it's all up on the Facebook of people going, wow, this Skyrim's addictive, or, you know, girls who I know are saying, oh, I bought my boyfriend this Skyrim thing, and now I'll never see him again, he's forever fighting dragons, and then about a week later, half of those girls who put that status up then put up, I've just started playing Skyrim, it's awesome. So, you know, it's really hit a chord with a lot of people, which I am sort of surprised at, you know, for that genre of game to strike a chord across a wide-ish spectrum is an achievement. And of course it has spawned the infamous I used to be an adventurer like you until I took an arrow to the knee. The whole until I took an arrow to the knee meme that's come with it as well. That's how you know when you've made it big, when you've got a meme. So there you go, that is the video game review for 2011. Oh, worst game of the year. Last year it should have gone to Final Fantasy 13 because that game's just shockingly let me down in a lot of ways. Looks beautiful, but terrible to play. This year's Game of the Year, AFL Live, an attempt to make Aussie rules football into a sports game, requires an EA Sports FIFA development team level to try and make it playable and work as a game, because the real game AFL, is very fast paced and has so many varying factors. The people who've had a go at it, Red Ant, it's not good enough. It's very poor. As much as I'd love to see a proper AFL game, I don't think we ever will, just because there isn't the market for it outside of Australia. Therefore, there's no need to put all that money into it. That's it for the look at video games. Thank you everybody for watching. Bit of a long one, I know, almost 16 minutes. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow I am planning on doing one final video from 2011, which will be a review of the year in general. So stay tuned for that, and I will speak to you then. And if I don't, Happy New Year, everybody. Okay, that's all. Ta-ra!